I have talked about this before, but it's important enough that I want to talk about it again. Over the years, I've worked with a lot of people, and I've seen those people that have been successful, and I've seen those people that have not been successful. And I'm often asked, what's the difference between those people? And I was thinking of how I could best explain that. And one of the ways that I can do that is to look at something that probably most of us have, if not all of us, have dealt with. And that is, let's say you want to lose weight. One way to do that is to say, well, I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going to exercise, and guess what? I'll lose weight. Another way to do that, because often that first method is you'll go through a month and you'll look back at the month and you'll say, oh, guess what? Same weight as I was before. The other way to do that is to say, okay, here's what I weigh today. Here's what my goal weight is. So how am I going to get to my goal? And one of the things is to say, okay, I know I need to watch what I eat, and I know I need to exercise to do that. So every night you would sit down and you'd say, okay, so what am I going to eat tomorrow? And you take a look at breakfast, a snack, lunch, a snack, dinner, a snack, maybe another snack, and then also what exercise or strength training do I want to do? And if you were to do that every night and to say, okay, at 8 o'clock I'm going to have breakfast and this is what I'm going to eat for breakfast, and then you look at that and you track that, you know what exercising you're going to do, at what time you're going to do it, and you actually check those things off, it'll also cause you to say, okay, no, I don't want to eat that because that's not on my list. And usually that process will yield much better results at the end of a month. And I would encourage you to take a look at your acquisition program the same way. Take a look at, okay, what industry do I want? You know you need a board of directors. You know you need professionals. We've talked about that. You need funding sources, whether that's seller financing or bank financing. We've talked about that. And you need to go after acquisition targets as well. That you know the process and you know how to do it. Knowing what to do is one thing. Doing it is another thing. So at any of those steps, what I would encourage you to do is set your goal and the night before lay out the next day. So if, for instance, you want to talk to board member candidates, you know you have to send LinkedIn messages. So between 7 and 8, I'm going to send LinkedIn messages, and you do that. At 8 o'clock, I've got a call with whoever you've got a call with. At 8:15, et cetera, same thing. Maybe cold calls. You know who you're going to call, what the number is, whether that's a phone number to an office or a mobile or whatever it is. Sending emails, same thing. But you lay out specifically the task and the time that you're going to do it. And if you block time and put tasks in that, you are going to be very, very surprised, I think, what happens. Ultimately, this all comes down to kissing frogs and enough. You can know all the steps. You can know how to do the steps. But if you don't take action on those steps, not much good is going to happen. Conversely, if you are, for instance, making 250 cold calls to the right people every week, eventually some things will happen that you like. So I'd encourage you to think about that. I've talked about that as an Ivy Lee method, writing down the night before the tasks, put a time next to them, and put those in order of the most important things first. There's a tendency sometimes to get caught up on, well, that's an easy one to do, so I'll do that now. No, put the most important ones first so that those move the needle the most, and you've actually got them written down, you've got a time next to them, and you know how you're going to do it. Just like most appointments, right? Most appointments, you know what time the appointment is, where you're going to be, how you have to prepare if you do for that appointment. You have that all ahead of time. And by knowing that, the odds are that you'll make that appointment. Same thing is true with this. So, and then track your results. What you said you were going to do when you set a weekly goal, for instance, on cold calls or letters or emails, track what you did, track what those results are, and are they within what you wanted them to be? Did you exceed them? Or if not, what is it that you prevented you, and how do you correct that problem? So I know I've talked about that before, but it's really, really important to take the action, write it down, and then you know at what time what you're supposed to do. And then hopefully you do it. And if you do that, I think you're going to be pleased with the results.